Okay, I think I've kept everybody waiting long enough, and it's close enough to 1:30. I think we can get started. Uh, so the agenda for today is to check out the lost PLA casting technique, and I haven't really used that before. This is something that I set as a Patreon goal, and so really this project is a result of all of those of you who are supporting me on Patreon. I really appreciate it. And basically, what I've done is I 3D printed out of PLA. I 3D printed a bell, and this is for a friend. It I cast it in plaster of Paris, and I didn't mix in any sand. This is a big experiment right now. It's in the kiln. It's been baking there overnight. I did a slow ramp over about 17 hours, different levels, getting up to temperature. For all I know, it could be a completely broken mold, so that would be kind of anticlimactic. But that's what we're here for, is just kind of see where it's at. I do have the kiln or the foundry going, so hopefully there'll be molten metal there, and then I'll get set up over here to cast. I will probably move this computer around just to make sure it's just to make sure you can see. Let's see. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go get my PPE on. So I typically wear a arc-rated shirt just from my old work. I had one, and then I have a leather apron that I wear. I also have a face shield, and then a hat that I wear. Yeah, so I'm gonna go do that, and then we'll move over, take a look at the kiln. Be right back. Okay, move over a little closer here. Well, unfortunately, that's showing some pretty massive cracking. Let's see if I can do this here. I don't know if you guys can see me. It's all right on this side. However, around the back, you can tell there's some pretty significant cracking. So probably what I'm going to do is go ahead and let that all right, so some pretty significant cracks there in that plaster mold. I don't think that makes sense to pour it. So maybe I need to mix in some sand. If you have some suggestions, if you've done the lost PLA technique, yeah, shoot me some links or something. In the meantime, I think what maybe makes sense is probably for me to dump that charge of aluminum from the foundry. And then I'll give you guys a little bit of a tour of the property out here. This is where I cast metal, and just kind of give you an update as to what's going on out here. And yeah, so I guess if you guys want, I'll spin you around here. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, go take a little tour of the property. Oh, there's a wasp. Not sure where from. Okay, so this is the casting shed. If you have questions, definitely shoot them out there in the text. I'm trying to stay on top of them, but Kim is also looks like she's on there helping me. So I have 240 volt power. I know that's pretty common everywhere else, but here most of our stuff actually runs on 120 volts, and I had to pull 240 out here to the back from the temporary pole. I've got this came from my in-laws there, that range, so who knows what I'll do with that. Maybe some powder coating or something. Got wood stacked up out here. There's a stockpile of aluminum here for casting parts, breaking down and casting parts. Okay. Okay, well, I guess I could have tried it. I got, my wife is texting me. It sounds like somebody suggested pouring sand around it. It may have been a little hard to see from the, yeah, that's not a good idea. Anyway, I think I would like, if you think you'd like to see live casting, if that's something you like, let me know. I mean, I think I got to work out some kinks here. I probably shouldn't do stuff for the first time on camera, but this one seemed like it probably made sense. If you like this kind of stuff and you'd like to see live casting, let me know. Put it in the comments. Specifically, tell Kim, since she's reading all the comments, she can pass it along if that's something you like. The house, the old house. So I did put a roof on it. You guys know I moved in. I bought a house, and so I moved into that. Been working on the garage over there. This I put a roof on it. I actually hired an Amish fellow that lives here nearby to help me do that, and that's just to kind of keep the deterioration from it getting much worse than it already is. My parents pulled a RV out here and parked it, and I want to do more with this property, you know, if you have the option to get yourself a little piece of land where you can go play, if you like doing this kind of stuff, I would encourage you to do something like that. I mean, that's it's really nice to be able to come out here and work and mess and not have, you know, the same kind of problems that you would have in a neighborhood or even just, you know, a residential property, you know, where you've got neighbors that you might be concerned about. Here it's, you know, it's a little bit more rural. I really like it out here. Let's see. Okay. All right. So I guess the only other thing that I had really on the agenda was I wanted to say a shout out to Rex Kreuger. I don't know if you guys have seen his channel, but he's starting a lathe project. It's a wood lathe, but he reached out to me and asked if I would mind giving him a shout out. So I wanted to do that. Also, Winston Moy. I met Winston at the Workbench Con earlier this year, and he's quit his job. He's actually going to work with the company that makes the Shapeoko 3 CNC router. I think it's Carbide something, Carbide CNC, Carbide 3D, something like that. But I think that's pretty cool. He's kind of taking moving, you know, kind of along the lines of his passions, following his passions. And I wanted to give those two guys a shout out. And then I wanted to solicit things. So if you guys are, you know, doing a YouTube channel or you've got projects that you're building, you know, send them to me in an email, Kressel@makersize.com. And you know, if I do this type of thing more frequently in the future, I'd like to kind of feature, you know, viewers' projects in those as well and give shout outs here and there. But yeah, I'll try to schedule them a little farther in advance. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think that's probably it. Sorry that didn't work out. I definitely want to get some proper refractory for doing lost castings, lost wax, lost PLA type castings. Clearly the plaster of Paris. And I mean, I followed it to a T. Just to let you know what the schedule is that I went through. 2 hours at 230 degrees Fahrenheit, up to 230 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I held it there for 2.5 hours. 3 hours at 500 degrees Fahrenheit, or 3 hours up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 hours at 500, and then another 2 hours up to 700, 4 hours at 700. I'll put a link here in the comments in case you want to look at what I referenced. Not sure if the comments track, but right there is what I used. I put it down in the description as well. That's really funny. Yes, I could have the heat up cycle be the stream countdown. That's a trip. So anyway, let's see. So, oh yes, one other thing I wanted to mention. I spent a lot of time actually making the Kiln controller. So I've got the Raspberry Pi down there in the box, kind of down the electrical box that's attached to the cart. A Raspberry Pi drives a relay to drive the elements in the kiln, and what I did was I rewired it for 240 volts, and my wife's calling. Yes, dear. But anyway, I spent a lot of time doing interprocess control in Python so that I can... Yes, ma'am. Hello. I am on delay. You're going to help me with the comments. Okay. Yes, I saw his comment, actually. I saw his comment. He actually sent me a 3D model, I think, a few months ago. I saw that. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. So I'll call you when I'm done. All right. I love you. Bye. Okay. I spent some time in the code. If you think you're interested in what I coded, let me know. I'm happy to send it out. I think it's a good general purpose interprocess communication for Python for the Kiln, because I can have a process that's going that's like talking to it and doing the PID controller, and then I can have another process that's updating the PID control set points. I checked it from my house, so because I've got internet out here, I can check and keep status on the Kiln temperature overnight. So yeah, I'm happy that that's done and working. Now I just got to figure out the refractory to use for that lost casting process. Thanks everybody for showing up. Regardless, I doubt there's thermal shock creating. There was no thermal shock creating the cracks. Maybe the PLA expanding. I will investigate it. Actually, it's too hot. It's too hot. I would investigate it right now. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you all for bearing with me the early entry as well as the kind of ad hoc nature of this. If you want to see more of this type of stuff, let me know. Kressel@makersize.com. And regardless, I appreciate you who tuned in and those of you who left comments. I really appreciate it. And have a nice weekend. I'll talk to you all soon.